No classy meme intro this time, let's get to the point. I'm saving a big one for next video, I swear. Terraria's Spirit mod. It's a mod that many of you guys have recommended me, so I decided to deliver. Two things though. One, I really want to get to 100k subs as soon as possible, so please subscribe. If I get to 100k subs, I will do a wall reveal. Two, join my Discord server. It's in the description and I want to get a lot of people in here. Enough stalling and let's begin. So I spawned in and opened my Skeletron starter bag. Someone made a custom starter bag for me which includes some nice things to start me off to make the grind a little bit easier. And also it includes my vanity set. The mod will be linked in the description. After chopping some wood and placing a few insta houses, I went to the left so I could try and find a cave. I found a living tree which had a summon weapon called the fairy whistle. And it summons a fairy. Wow, very surprising, am I right? I also managed to get a cleft horn from that chest which gives me defense and armor penetration. But next to that living tree, I found this small desert structure thing. It had a chest, so I checked what it had, and it had this material called old leather. It's used to make some cool stuff that we might get into later. Well, we did not actually get into this later. So after I recalled, I went to the right and found a surface cave which I explored for some nice loot. While finding a chest that had a band of regen, I found this note thing. It apparently talked about a new ore crystal in the underground called bismite. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I suck at pronunciation. If you want to read the note, you can pause the video. But right after reading that, I found this slime called the Noxious slime, and it dropped bismite crystals, and I checked recipe browser, and it's used to make some nice stuff. While I was exploring the underground, I found this underground cabin structure thing. In the middle of it, it had a vase. When I broke it, it said bad luck for some reason. There was also a material called black rock in that structure. Under that cabin though, there was another one, but when I broke the vase of that one, this time it wasn't bad luck, and a bunch of platinum ore spawned everywhere, which was honestly amazing, though I couldn't mine it all because I died. When I went back home, I was trying to make platinum armor, but I saw this weapon I could make using gold called the Golden Great Hammer, so I made it. Basically, you smack the enemy down with the hammer, but the longer you charge it, the more damage it dealt, and this was honestly really cool. I went back to the underground, and when I found a normal underground cabin, for some reason it didn't have a chest, but it had this weird block. I mined it and it gave me some sapphire and this pickaxe called the Brilliant Harvester. It mined slower than my silver pickaxe, but not only did it have more pickaxe power, but if you use this pickaxe on stone, there's a small chance that you get ores and gems. I found another chest and it had a book. I opened it and it told me about this gunslinger guy. But while I was reading it, I got a status message saying that a globe blooms over the ocean. For some reason I got the status message so many times later into the playthrough, but I didn't even know what it does. I recalled, didn't I? Yep. But when I talked to the merchant, he gave me a mystery candy. I talked to the guy to see if he also gave me candy, but he gave me a candy bag, which can hold up to 99 pieces of candy. I don't know what this does. I went to the right and in this crimson biome, I somehow found a surface granite biome. How? That has to be something to do with the spirit mod. So I instead went to the left and I found a pyramid in the desert and I got a magic carpet. But after going further, I found a new biome. This here is called the Briar, whatever. The Briar is basically the forest biome but cursed. There was this giant tree in the middle, and I decided to go into the underground briar to see if anything useful is there. I found this chest which had a briar heart boomerang, and it shoots 2 boomerangs at once instead of 1. But there's this thing next to the chest, so I mined it, and yeah, this mini boss is called the Glade Wraith, and I died to it. I went back, but for some reason it was still there. I didn't spend too much time there since it was a very dangerous biome. After looting some more, I crafted the bismite bow using the bismite crystals. Since I got gravitation potions, I explored to the left of the sky. But I found this island thing. There was this egg in the middle, so I broke it, but Oh, hello there! Yeah, don't mind that. I kept going into the underground and looting, but for some reason, it was so hard to find life crystals. I legit looked for so long, and I only found a single life crystal in the underground jungle. I was so unlucky. So I just decided to summon the eye even with 120 health, and I managed to still beat it because I had a lot of defense and I'm just that good at the game. I went to the underground deserts hoping for some more loot, but I found a magic conch, and I decided to use it, and when I got teleported to the ocean, it looks very different. I found this weird tower in one of the oceans which had the gambler NPC. From the chest in the tower, I also got a blank glyph. Trust me, this is important. I then went into the underground desert to grab some amber, crafted the scarab idol, and I summoned the Scarabus, the first boss in the spirit mod. It was actually a really fun fight. So far, I absolutely love this mod. From the Scarabus, I got this material called chitin, whatever. And it's only used to make a few tools and an armor set. And I didn't make the armor because I wanted to stick with my platinum armor. So remember the blank glyph that I found and how I said it would be really important? Well, the Enchanter NPC moved in, and I was able to use that blank glyph to buy special glyphs from the Enchanter NPC. Glyphs basically just give buffs to your weapon, and you can enchant a weapon using a specific glyph. I decided to buy the Radiant glyph, and it gave my Bismite bow the Radiant enchantment, which allows me to build more attack when I don't hit someone, capping at 66% more attack. I made an Excavator, used it, and went spelunking for life crystals. But I found this green tower structure in the caverns, and I checked it out. This here is called the Sepulture Tower, and I broke some books. Yeah, I'm not going back there. Anyways, I kept finding life crystals, and I got up to 220 health, so it was a pretty good amount. I looked at the next boss that I was supposed to fight, and it was this boss called the Moon Jelly Wizard. To summon it, you need to apparently catch a critter called the Dreamlight Jelly and use it to summon the Moon Jelly Wizard. And the Dreamlight Jelly spawns in an event called the Jelly Deluge. I wanted to summon it manually, but I had to catch a critter called the Distressed Jelly, found in the Asteroid Field biome, a new biome the Spirit mod adds. The asteroid field is supposed to be above one of the oceans, so I used my magic conch and I went up to the skies. But instead of finding the asteroid field, I found this cool looking island with a very big house, and inside the chest had a sword called the Anime Sword. So I tried it, and good lord, this looks so cool. Although it doesn't deal much damage though, so it's a shame. So I went to the left ocean, and there I found the asteroid field, but the enemies were so strong and the distressed jelly wasn't spawning. So instead, I waited for the Jelly Deluge to spawn naturally, since it has a 1 in 7 chance to occur naturally every night after the Eye of Cthulhu, and soon it happened. I killed these jelly enemies, and one of them dropped a yo-yo called the Moonburst, and it builds a bubble every time you hit someone with it, and it pops after 10 strikes. I managed to catch one of the Dreamlight Jelly, and I waited till next night and summoned the Moon Jelly Wizard. It was a pretty easy and fun fight. I didn't get anything special from this boss except for a classless weapon called the Cornucopion, which does this. I went back to a Sepulture Tower in the caverns to try and fight the haunted tome that killed me, but I died again due to the lack of space, so I didn't fight it again. Instead, I went to the Crimson, made an arena, and broke enough Crimson Hearts for the Brain of Cthulhu to spawn. But I somehow died. But it's fine because I still got some tissue samples from the eyes. So I slept till the Goblin Army spawned, but when they spawned, this mini boss called the Mechromancer spawned. No, not Necromancer, Mechromancer. I was able to kill it and it dropped some pretty cool loot, but nothing to note. After the Goblin Army was over, I found the Goblin Tinkerer so I can buy the workshop and the rocket boots so I can make Spectre boots. I crafted a Deathbringer pickaxe using the tissue samples I got, mined up some Hellstone, and crafted a Molten pickaxe. The reason for this is that I wanted to go into the underground snow biome and mine some cryolite ore, which is generated upon world creation, but it can only be mined with a Molten pickaxe. But I also found this material called Creeping Ice, which also generates like an ore, and I got this material called frigid fragments by killing snow enemies. While I was looking at the recipes, a blood moon happened, so I decided to see if there's anything new about blood moons in the spirit mod. There were a few new enemies, for example this giant skeleton, dab me up man, but also a new mini boss called the Occultist Wand. Other than dropping a bloody tear, it didn't drop anything too useful. I went back to making stuff using the cryolite ore, and I made the rim howl. It's close range and it does a combo of slashes, the third one shooting a small ice wave. Then I crafted a bloody spine and summoned the Brain of Cthulhu. If you're wondering how I summoned it in the forest, Fargo's Mutant mod, which is a quality of life mod, allows me to summon it anywhere. It's not cheating and it just makes my life easier. But here's the thing, the Rim Howl weapon was absolutely perfect for this boss. There could not have been a better weapon. The Ice Wave is amazing for dealing with the eyes, and when the brain enters the second phase, the Rim Howl still does amazing. After killing the brain, I went back to the underground ice biome and got more cryolite. I also finally managed to max out my health. That took way longer than it was supposed to. Using the cryolite, I made the cryolite armor set. It gives me a good amount of melee damage, a ton of defense, and it summons this ice aura around me. And if enemies are in the aura, they get slowed. I saw there was a mini boss called the Snap Trapper, and it can spawn in the surface of the jungle. So I went there and waited, and eventually it spawned. I killed it very easily, and it dropped a melee weapon called a Spore Breaker. It's like the Golden Great Hammer, except it releases a field of toxins. It was worse than my Rim Howl though. I remembered about the Briar biome, and I decided to explore it again, since I was actually geared up this time. I summoned the Glade Wraith mini-boss again, but this time I absolutely destroyed it. Now this is what I call revenge. I got this material called Enchanted Leaf from it, so I used it to craft a Bramble Tooth. I went back to the Underground Briar, and I realized there was also this ore called Florin Ore in the Underground Briar, which is used to make some good weapons and a Florin armor set. But they weren't too good in this stage of progression. Anyways, I used the Bramble Tooth I crafted, and I summoned the Vinewrath Bane. It was actually pretty easy, until it decided to revive itself when it got to 0 HP and I got destroyed. So I decided to this time mine out an actual arena, well a small one, and I used potions and I summoned it again. And this time, I wasn't the one getting destroyed. Then I found another one of those nest islands, prepared a quick arena, and I quickly broke another egg to summon the Ancient Avian. Yeah, it's the boss that killed me, but I'm back for vengeance. I made sure to be quick since I still had my buffs from the Vinewrath Bane fight. It was very, very close, but I managed to somehow clutch up. I managed to get a hook called the Avian Hook, and it made me float for a short period of time whenever I used the hook. I heard that there was a new quest system in the Spirit mod, and I found out there's this NPC called the Adventurer, which is apparently rescued in the Briar. So I went there and I managed to find him, and I did my first quest. I had to kill the Occultist mini-boss again, so I summoned another Blood Moon, killed it, and I managed to get a few nice rewards, one of the rewards being a material called Dreamstride Essence. I checked what it was used to craft, and there was this melee weapon called a Demonic Head Splitter. So I crafted it, and it doesn't really do anything special, just a close range type weapon. Then I just decided to go to the dungeon, build an arena there, and summon Skeletron. I was able to destroy it with the Moonburst and the Rim Howl when it got close. Yep, I'm dead, that's right. I went to a dungeon, grabbed a Muramasa, Cobalt Shield, and Shadow Key, then I left, since I don't really need anything from the dungeon other than that. After using an Insta-Arena in the Underworld, I farmed these new Underworld enemies that Spirit Mod added for this material called Slagstone, which you can only get after defeating Skeletron. While farming, I got this cool yo-yo called the Fireball, which shoots out some fireballs. I kept farming and I managed to get enough Slagstone to craft a Blasphemer, and I thought it was going to be something cool, but it was just a hammer, still cool nonetheless. Then I farmed a lot of Brain of Cthulhu's for money, and I used that money to buy 30 stack potions. 30 stack potions are basically, if you have 30 of one potion in your inventory, you get that buff permanently. So if I have 30 Iron Skin potions, I get a permanent Iron Skin buff. I can't believe I have to explain this every video. Also, if you're wondering why I have 2 forest pylons, I'm using a no pylons restriction mod, which allows me to place a pylon however much times I want in any place. Like, okay, if you think I'm using too much quality of life, let me know. But personally for me, this is fine, since I just want to get through this playthrough quickly. So it's a win-win. I get to have an easier time recording and you guys get videos faster. Deal? Okay, let me have this one. I went back to Underworld to farm even more Slagstone, since I wanted to see if I can make some more melee stuff with it, and I made the Slag Breaker. You have to charge it, and when you release, it gets thrown like a boomerang. Then I crafted the Sea Break Pearl using bones and coral, and I used it in the ocean, and I summoned the Tide, a new event. Okay, but why do those enemies actually look cute? Anyways, the Tide is an event that consists of 5 waves, and once I got to wave 5, a mini boss spawned called the Rillian. Like, I don't get how I'm supposed to pronounce these things. It wasn't too hard. I got the Tiki Javelin from this event, which is just a javelin that you can charge and throw. Then I went to the Asteroid Field biome, and I made an arena. I crafted the Starplate Beacon, and I used that at the Astrolite Beacon that was in the biome, and I summoned Astrum Deus. Wait, wrong mod. I used that at the Astrolite Beacon that was in the biome, and I summoned the Starplate Voyager. This right here, this is the perfect boss. I loved every second of it. It was a very fun fight. In fact, I'd say it's my favorite boss from this mod, though it didn't do much damage to me since I had full warding and I had 54 defense. I got this cool item called the Astral Map, and when I used it, it teleported me to my cursor. So basically, it's a pre-hard mode Rod of Discord, but the cooldown is 40 seconds to balance it out. And I got this material called Astral Shards, so I checked what it was used to craft. A weapon called the Starblade caught my eye, so after grinding some fallen stars, since it was in the recipe, I crafted it. It swings like a normal sword, but every third swing, you shoot out these bright star lasers. After farming for a guide voodoo doll, I summoned the a fish run. For some reason, I got way too close to dying, but I still managed to beat it. I used a demon heart, and I went through the surface of the world to check if anything changed about the world, but other than the hollow biome, nothing really changed. I broke some demon altars with the pawn hammer, and I went through the process of mining the hard mode ores up to titanium, and I made a titanium pickaxe. I was wondering what weapons to get, so I actually summoned up the Frost Legion. But Skeletron, isn't that literally the most useless event someone could ever do in Terraria? Well, normally yes, but it actually has a use in Spirit mod. There is this mini boss that could spawn in the Frost Legion called the Snowmonger, and it eventually spawned, and I managed to take it down. It actually dropped the Blizzard's Edge first try, the weapon I was looking for. It swings like a normal sword at first, but after 5 swings, you can right click to summon a blizzard. Then I grinded a lot to craft an accessory called the Bloody Bauble. It basically takes these 4 accessories that are obtained from materials from certain biomes, like the Amazonian charm from jungle materials, the Hellstone charm from underworld materials, and more. The Bloody Bauble also gives me 5% melee speed, damage reduction, damage, and critical strike chance. Then I just farmed mimics for flesh knuckles and I made the Berserker's glove for some more melee speed. Before fighting the next bosses, I found out there was this event in the Spirit mod called the Mystic Moon. To summon it, I needed to use a turquoise lens at night. So after farming the Starplay Voyager again, since I needed more astral shards for the turquoise lens, I crafted it, and I summoned the Mystic Moon. All of the enemies in this event drop this material called Azure Gems, which are used to make some really cool things. After I got enough, I crafted the Seraph Strike. It's just a normal sword if you left click, but you release a Fury of Strikes if you right click. After the event ended, I actually farmed another one because I wanted more Azure Gems for the Seraph armor set. Upon crafting it, I realized that it was worse than my adamantite armor set in every way possible, so I didn't use it. After reforging my items, I crafted the Pain Collar, went to the underworld, and used the Pain Collar to summon Infernon. But I actually lost. So I fought a lot of Reign of Cthulhu's for more money, and I reforged my items even more, and I used Honey because Honey is of course the most underrated regen buff. Then I summoned Infernon again and I destroyed it. I thought I beat it, but it actually entered a second phase and baited me. But I still won because I'm just good at this game. After that, I proceeded to just kill all 3 of the mechs. I killed the destroyer first, but when I beat it, a status message said the spirits spread through the land. So I checked the world again to see if anything changed, and nothing changed. Just kidding, new biome jumpscare, let's go! Anyways, this biome spawns after defeating the first mech, and it's called the Spirit Biome, so I quickly beat the Twins and Skeletron Prime, and that's the mechs down. Then I went back to the Spirit Biome to actually check it out. After digging down a bit, I found the underground Spirit Biome, and I found this ore called Spirit Ore, so I decided to mine a ton of it. I crafted spirit bars with the Spirit Ore, but I realized that I needed another material called Ethereal Ember so I can actually make items with the Spirit Bars. Ethereal Ember drops from enemies in the underground Spirit Biome, so I went back and farmed enemies there and I got enough Ethereal Ember to craft the Spirit Saber, which shoots a homing bolts of souls, and I also crafted the Spirit Armor set, which actually gives me buffs when I get lower in HP, like 8% more damage when I'm below 400 health, 6 more defense when I'm below 200 health, increased life regen when I'm below 100 health, and increased invincibility frames when I'm below 50 health. I wanted to fight the next boss, so I crafted the Dusk Crown, slept till the next night, and I used the Dusk Crown to summon the Dusking, which is just a big purple skull emoji I guess. Also, for some reason, so much slimes were spawning, and I realized that there was a slime rain, so I just... yeah, don't mind that. I got dusk shards from the dusking, and I crafted the blade of the Yukai, and it's just another close range sword. Not gonna lie, I'm starting to get a bit annoyed about these close range swords. Then I just crafted Plantera's fruit, which summons Plantera so I don't have to look for the summon item, made an arena in the underground jungle, and summoned Plantera, and it was just a cakewalk. Then I just used the temple teleportation potion to go to the temple, made a quick arena, and summoned the one and only clown of Terraria, Golem. Like seriously, no matter how much times they buff this guy, he will never be more than a punching bag, unless they rework the fight. Red, please rework it. We really need to start a petition to rework this fight. Oh look, he's dead. Anyways, that's my ranting done. I went to the end of the world and found a Martian probe, and I started the Martian Madness since I needed Martian conduit plating. Once I got enough, using the Martian conduit plating, I crafted the Stone Fist, and using it, I summoned Atlas, the final boss of the Spirit mod. For some reason, I got absolutely destroyed. I tried again and again, and I still failed to even get it close to half health. It was clear I needed some upgrades. I tried fighting Fishron, and I somehow died. Yeah, don't mind that. So instead, I farmed the Solar Eclipse for Mothrons to get a broken hero sword, and I crafted the Terra Blade. Then I farmed Fishron, this time with the Terra Blade, and I managed to win. And I got Fishron Wings first try. Like, okay, I genuinely have a question. How am I so lucky with Fishron Wings? I got it first try this playthrough. I got it first try in my True Melee playthrough. Like 80% of the time, I get it first try. And I don't know why. But not only that, I got a new yo-yo called the Typhoon. And when you hit someone with it, it shoots these shark runs. So I went to the underground and looked for the skeleton merchant. Once I found him, I bought the counterweight and yo-yo glove to craft the yo-yo bag, since I wanted to use the Typhoon yo-yo. I also crafted the fire gauntlet for some extra melee damage. I farmed a lot of more Brain of Cthulhu's for more money so I can reforge all of my weapons and accessories. And then I summoned Atlas again, this time with my new and prepared loadout. But get a load of this fight. Yeah, that was pathetic, but it kind of makes sense. In case you were wondering, this mod is actually not done. Pre-hard mode is kind of finished, but the Spirit mod developers haven't actually finished hard mode yet. And this is where the content gets lackluster, so there isn't really a point to playing this anymore. So that's the end of this video. What are my thoughts on the Spirit mod? It's actually really fun, and I'm very excited for when the hard mode rework comes out. Of course, please like, comment, and subscribe, as I really want to get to 100k subs. Thanks for watching, and see ya.